Neverland. Everybody's favorite bad guy here. Ty, how you doing? Superman! Right there. Oh, right there. I always do that. Whew. After a really long night at work, I've been stressed out lately, pretty pissed off. Mm. Figured I'd say, hey, trying to keep up with this stuff, man. Cup of tea in my hand. Cheers. A little something at about 4:25 in the morning before I go to bed. I had to make a vlog. Chester Bennington found hung, hanged, committed suicide. The famous Linkin Park singer. I had to do something. I feel fresh off the heels of the Chris Cornell death and had to share my opinion on that. Um, I don't know where to start. Um, I don't know where to start. Again, I live in the same building that I used to live in years and years ago, like a decade ago, more than that. 2 floors up, right above me. I remember listening to Linkin Park's music and their lyrics, man. You know, it's one thing to be, back in the 90s or late 90s and early 2000s, is what I'm trying to say. To have a hook or a gimmick in your music or something that you can recognize or memorize or the crowd or public can memorize. So you won't forget the songs. A lot of Linkin Park's music was full of gimmicks, In the End, Crawling, all of them. Hybrid Theory is still one of my favorite albums to this day. They're not one of my favorite bands in the world, but pretty influential, though. I'll be honest, as a musician myself, you know, um, pretty influential to the point where you dig their stuff, right? You really dig in their music, and it kind of strikes a chord to you in your life. And I can only speak for myself, and it struck a chord with me, man, because I haven't had the greatest life either. I had it pretty hard growing up, and just some of those lyrics, though, like the lyrical content to a lot of their songs, really hit home to me. Um, it strikes me funny, you know. All of these amazing singers are just dropping like flies. Now I know it's eventually going to happen. I know, as you and I, get older, it's going to happen. And it's pretty sad when it does. I've always respected their music. I've always really appreciated the music because it really struck a chord with me when I was going through rehab, when I was going through, what I was going through, what I was going through. How about that? Because that's just a long story. I'm not even going to dive into it all. I'm not going to divulge details on that because you guys will be sitting there for another 40 minutes watching my shit. My opinion, though, is such, and I have different beliefs as such, where something funny is going on. Two or three of you just went, obviously. I'm just saying it out loud. I have different beliefs. I've always been a different cat, different dude, always marched to the beat of my own drum type of deal, which I've already covered before. And that's fine. I mean, if you want to put me in a cliche, sort of thing. That's cool. If you want to call me cliche, that's up to you. Um, I know how I feel about certain things, especially when it comes down to music. That's my language. That's the language I speak um, fluently. I spend most of my life trying to do so. But something funny's going on. Now, I don't talk about religion on my videos. I don't talk about specific beliefs that I have because it always sparks a debate. It always sparks drama. It always brings up something out there that some moron's gonna comment on my video and say, yeah, but it's this. Ugh. It's not about that. It's not about that, first of all. But I do have beliefs that would spark, I'm sure, controversy somewhere. I'm sure of it. I am damn sure of that. Um, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You know, everybody's got their own shit they got to deal with, and what they believe in is what they believe in. And I'm taking nothing away from that. I think that's great. I think that's awesome that you have a heart and mind to yourself, that you believe in something as such that the proof's in the pudding, to use a cliche term. I mean, everybody's got a different life, you know. And I respect that. So I'm just going to leave the small details that could spark controversial subjects alone. But I honestly believe that there's something funny going on there. I believe it. I can feel it. And this is the world we live in now. And we're supposed to just be sheeple and bah and be okay with that and just fall in line and just, you know, keep going forward without asking questions. Because that's what we're pushed to do, not ask questions and just keep moving forward. Problem, I take issue with that. Big time, big time, big time. All I'll say is that I know there's something funny going on. I know there's something funny going on. But deaths are tragic, man. Either way you look at it, whether you're taking your own life or somebody else took it from you, it's pretty tragic. I personally didn't know these singers. I didn't know these people as people. So I don't have any emotional connection to them personally. But personally for myself, I do. And it affects people that way, I think. You know, I was working tonight with my boss, who's also a friend of mine. He's got his own opinion saying, yeah, well, it's just another, basically saying, I don't have verbatim because I can't remember. He said something I disagree with. Nah, it's just another singer, you know, just basically passing it off like it's just another statistic, I guess. I respectfully disagree with that strongly. It's only because of what I did with my life, you know, getting into music and being involved, and he hasn't had the same life. He's just, you know, he's had a life, you know. Not a musician, just grew up the way he did. I grew up being in music. So I do have my own personal issues when, say, a favorite singer of mine passes away, or a guitar player passes away, or et cetera, a drummer, whatever have you, of a band that I used to listen to when I was growing up that had an influence on my life, you know. Mostly genre-based, mostly lyrical-based. A lot of Linkin Park's songs, for the best example, really hit home with me. Again, just the lyrical content, really. I mean, yeah, there's some nostalgic feel in there too, as I got older and stuff, and you're looking back on stuff that you used to listen to maybe back to back all the time, and now you're sick of it. But it's nice when it comes back up on the radio, for example, like some or whatever random case, like you're sitting there in a restaurant and in the end comes on, or just for an example, just some random case, where you're just like, wow, I remember this nostalgic feel of it is I remember where I was when I first heard that song. Linkin Park was one of them for me too. Not in my top 5, mind you, but in my top 10 for sure. Chester's voice was phenomenal. I mean, I still can't. I remember watching some live stuff quite a while back, and it's just like the band One Bad Son now. For all my Canadian viewers, how you doing? Just like the band One Bad Son now, and I've seen them live once. Just happened to see them, and the singer starts high and finishes high, and I'm going, how does this guy talk? You know what I mean? And Chester had that high, screamy, but still in key, like not screamo, because I can't stand that shit, or at least most of it. Even though I'm a fan of Slipknot and Mudvayne, imagine that. But he had that distinctive voice. Actually, that's what I was looking for, where he could stay in key and stay stable in this really high pitchy but yet raspy, screamy. Like that takes a lot of control. I mean, me as a singer, well, I took a break for a long time, but me as a singer, I respect the hell out of that, because that's not easy to do, man. And I can remember listening to Hybrid Theory back when it first came out, and my old roommate had the album. And I remember sitting in his computer room, just like I'm sitting in mine now, just 2 floors up. And I remember listening to Hybrid Theory in headphones, just like these, the ones that I have, right? Stereo headphones. And front to back, just listening to the first song all the way to the end, just because, I like to give things a try. And I liked everything that I heard. And wow, some might call what I'm saying right here, looking back at it nostalgic wise, and that's fine. You can say that. That's fine. But I listened to that album front to back so many times that you memorize all the lyrics of the album, you know what I mean? And that's what means something to me. So that's why I figured I'd do yet another Dead Singer vlog. It's very sad, And again, it's going to happen as we get older, There'll be tabloids and headlines of famous singer of such and such passed away of such and such. And that's fine, but not so close together. Like, I'm still having a really hard time with Chris Cornell's death. Talk about influence. He's actually more important to me, but I'll leave it right there. And by the way, comment down below if you guys have something to say too. I mean, it's wide open. You feel free. Especially my musician friends out there that watch me. And if this affects you too, even to the non-musicians out there that watch and we stay together and we stay close together in the same community, I'm sorry to all of you. I mean, if Linkin Park had a really hard pull on your life too, if they were being an influence, because I do understand. I'm sorry for your loss too at the same time. Even though maybe some of you out there knew Chester personally, I never met him. I mean, I've never even seen him live, so I just felt it was important to share my feelings on it, that's all. That's it. No strings attached, but I'm sorry if they're a huge part of your life and that there's another hole yet to be filled, right? It's not easy. I respect the fact. May Chester rest in peace, man. Last point before I go. Mental illness. I was never going to bring this up. I'm not going to get into the gritty detail of it, nor do I want to sound like I'm being dramatic. I used to suffer from, I don't know, still have it, but used to suffer from mental illness. I got contracted with psychosis after a really bad relationship, and shit went right downhill when I was about 18 years old. Um, I've been through rehab for drinking. I still drink and stuff, but more in control, thank God. These days, lately, I've been trying to be a good boy, so, you know, all I do is work and drink tea, apparently. Um, for those of you that either have a mental illness or know somebody that has one, I know a few. Uh, if you notice yourself, and this goes back to what I've always said, take care of yourselves and each other kind of thing, and not in a Jerry Springer way. Nah. Pay attention to your environment. Be there for those that are there for you, no matter if you're working with them, if they're actually potentially looking after you, or you work for somebody that has a mental illness or whatever. Keep close tabs on people like that. And I'm not saying that to sound judgmental or stereotypical, but they're numbers you can call. They're right in your phone book in your local town, city, village, whatever. Be the beacon of light through their darkness. That's the only thing that comes to mind. But honestly, though, be there for them, regardless of what they put you through, or if you're directly involved with them, which I am, a few people actually, that have an illness, or they just, they're not, I wouldn't want to say suffering, but they're surviving through a hard time. Be there for them. You're strong enough. You can be strong enough for another person too, because they matter. They're important. Even though they probably don't feel like they are, or they don't fit in. Again, it's a touchy subject because I'm sure this could raise some controversy, but you know that I mean well. And I mean this drama free. Be there for them. Because you never know. It could be for anybody who's in front of your face that could be having a really rough time in their life, that just don't talk about it. They just don't speak up. There's so many different colored ribbons out there. One's for cancer, one's for the troops, one's for, and I respect it all. Not for the ribbons, but for the actual act of respecting what they do or what they've been through, or maybe they lost a child, or maybe they lost a mother, father, etc., etc. Some people that live with PTSD, I couldn't tell them that they're mentally ill because they've been through more than I have. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. And I mean well. Be there for them. If they seem okay and normal around you, that's probably a good thing. If you're part of their routine because they find you important in their day-to-day basis, their lives, continue being there. It's not a hard concept to follow. It's not a hard thing to do. You're already doing it. But I will say this, just be wary. Keep your eyes peeled. There's numbers you can call for help. There are people around you that are paid professionals, and I use that term loosely because that's a different vlog for another time. I don't believe in the medical system. I don't. But there are people there that are professionals that get paid to help. And those of us that do have, and I keep using the term mentally ill like it's some other cliche, but I don't mean it to sound that way. But if there's somebody that you know of, or some people that you know of at the same time that just have problems, there's help. There's help there. I don't know, I just felt compelled to say something about that. There's help. It's another tragic death, man. And in closing, I will say it's a waste of talent. And I don't mean to say waste is something controversial. I'm just saying it's just a waste of talent because we'll never hear nothing out of them anymore. And for those of us that just can't wrap your heads around that, I'm in the same boat. I just can't grasp a hold of the fact that, we're not going to hear Chester sing anymore. All it's going to be is just redos and hits that they've already written and whatever, maybe overplayed, maybe. Listen, thanks for watching. Thanks for being there for me, as I'm there for you. Happier note, come this Sunday, I'll be on vacation for the first time in quite some time for 7 days. It was supposed to happen today, as in Friday, as in yesterday, I guess in this case. But my vacation was bumped up. I'm going to be missing a family reunion, actually. So I'm a little irritated, but hey, nature of the beast. Somebody's got to watch the store. Somebody has to flip those pizzas, man. And there's other things attached to that too, which I'm not a fan of. All I'm going to say is there's a reason why I'm watching the store, I guess, and why they needed me. But when really important things in my life come up, like family reunions, it doesn't seem to matter. And that's the truth. But it's okay, though. It's all good. Rolling on, man. Rolling on. So I will be checking in, as if I wouldn't have the time, because I will. I'm not too sure what I'm going to be talking about next, though. I don't know. There's two things up in the air right now. I always come up with something to talk about, but a couple of things up in the air right now. I can't decide what to attack first, but if you guys have any comments, by all means, put them right down there. And if you have an idea for my next video that you want me to talk about, then cool, go for it. That's what we'll do. So starting this Sunday until, the following Sunday, I have 7 days off vacation. Woo. So that being said, rest in peace, Chester. Damn. I don't know, man. I still think something funny's going on. And I do a lot of studying. I'm pretty studied up. And don't start with that Illuminati confirmed bullshit. Come on, man. Grow up. But would you really be that far off? And discuss. For now, remember, if you're working too hard, you're doing it wrong. Peace, guys. Leave a comment down below if you want me to talk about something in my next video, and I'll talk about it. No limits here. No limits here. Yeah. Go for it. All three of you. I like hearing from people. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to let the next video, vlog, be you guys' call. So you call the shots. You can make different comments if you want to. I'll just read them and bring them up. Not even read them, I'll just bring them up. That's what we're going to do. Why? Because I'm on vacation and I deserve one. Bad guy. Super. Oh, I do it every time. Superman. Gucci, Gucci. Out!